Welcome to this video covering Tata Steel 2014 round 6. And I must confess that I'm having some problems with those videos simply because it's 6 games, I cover them all and the player simply failed to produce any boring games so that I can dispatch 2 or 3 games quickly and concentrate more on the more complicated and interesting ones. They simply play quite interesting games, all of them, and this is the case in this round as well. So I'd like to keep the videos at least below 1 hour, so some of it will be done quite quickly to focus on some main points. Let's start with Kayakin playing white against Knight, and Kayakin playing knight f3 and g3. A slight surprise. He's a well-known 1e4 player and he has excellent score with e4, but nowadays people like to branch out a bit and vary their openings to not be so predictable. Yeah, d4 here, reversed Grunfeld. I was a bit surprised by this move order because it's quite uncommon to play d4 exactly here. But yeah, Knight ignores the opportunity. Could have taken here. The point is that after the recapture, Black is able to play e5, and there's nothing to capture on c6 like in the Grunfeld. This is actually quite nice for Black. Maybe he would have played castles, but I don't know. It's a bit strange that Knight didn't take. Okay, now we have a regular, let's say, reversed Grunfeld. If you watch my Blitz videos, you see that opening once in a while. e6 and c4, and this now can transpose to various openings. After bishop e7, for example, we would have the Tarrasch defense to the Queen's Gambit. But Knight is not going for that. He plays d takes c4. And this, in fact, transposes to the open Catalan, usually reached via d4, knight f6, c4, e6, g3. Yeah, that's a valid main line. Knight e5. This is the most aggressive way to play. One point being that knight takes d4 is a little trapped because of e3. And Black has a problem. He needs to move the knight.
Check.
But then
check.
Just loses the rook in the corner. So knight takes is bad. This is also bad because well, white can also Black can also take first. It's not a huge difference. And now this knight a3 coming with this threats, and white will regain the pawn. This is very nice for white actually. Yeah, it's bishop b7, the main move, and now knight a3. So we have a gambit continuation. Black has won the d4 pawn for the moment, but we see that in this type of position, white has an excellent development. Both bishops are nicely placed, and there's the queen also joining the game later. Yeah, here in this position, Knight, funny enough, is going for a novelty. And this has been played like 100 times before, but no one ever went knight d5. It looks perfectly normal, this move, but I didn't find any game with it. It's not such a small database that I have. It's a bit strange. I'm not sure that this is really a great novelty, but normally Black castles here. We see that after knight d7, queen d7, knight e5, this was not the only option, but certainly a good line that Kayakin chose here. Takes, it's very logical. Yeah, Black will lose the d4 pawn back. No way to keep it on a move like, let's say, knight f6 to keep the pawn for the moment. Queen b3 is just a very strong reply, and Black has no way to cover b7. Rook b8, there's the bishop. So, not a good move. Black just needs to give the pawn back, and this is what he did. Castles, and we reached this position. Oops. Yeah, well, okay. Let's do this move. Let's play this move out on the board, queen b5. Yeah, if this is the best that black can hope for after the knight d5 new move, I think he somehow stumbled into this line. It's not a prepared novelty, I think. Yeah, if this is the best, I mean, white will take, and he did take. We get this isolated queen pawn position with only heavy pieces on the board, and this is just a terrible torture for black. It's a position that probably most of the times black will not lose, but you will never ever win a game, and you will lose some. It's just a matter of constant pressure being applied, and we can progress a couple of moves and see that just a typical game is proceeding, where black is tied to the defense of the pawn, and white is combining threats against this pawn with other play. He's sometimes able, for example, to use this rook, lifting it. White is always better, and can try little things, even repeating once or twice. It does not hurt, showing black that you're the boss in the game, that you're the one calling the shots if it's a draw or not. It's always a useful tool. Yeah, but you can improve the position here. He tries to play at the right moment b4, dislodging the rook and then gaining the d5 pawn. This is all quite normal. g6 covers the f5 square, because queen f5 always was an annoyance. However, in this position where everything up to now developed rather slowly, here white had a nice tactical opportunity, or let's say a concrete opportunity. I'm not sure if you really should call it tactical. Here white, he played queen d2, which is a very normal looking move, attacking a5, keeping the pressure on, and it keeps an edge, no doubt. Here white had a strong move. He could play e4 here. This is a bit counterintuitive, just playing e4 and allowing black to get rid of his pawn, but it's just a concrete line. If black takes, and this instantly loses. I mean, I think black is lost anyway, but this is instantly losing because of rook d8 check, king moves, and queen d4. And okay, black can insert a check if he wants, like that. But now he needs to attend to the mate threat, or rook h8, both is a mate. And the funny thing is that after something like f6, check, rook check, and now simply rook e7, there's queen d8 mate, this threat, and black has no way to prevent that. He cannot stop the mate. He can play rook d5, but then queen a7 is coming, and it's a deadly attack on the 7th rank. That's really funny. D takes e4 is just losing straight away. Other lines are very similar. Check. Like that. Check. f6, again rook d7 here. This is another important line, of course, check, winning the queen. So black after e4, he cannot take, and this means white is winning the pawn, and also the game, probably, because it's such a strong extra pawn in the center that is pushing forward immediately. So this would have won the game, I think. Queen d2 is just keeping the position as is, but not really winning as such. Yeah, we have this this trade, and now white centralizing. He sort of had the idea obviously, but somehow didn't find e4. Yeah, king h7, and white has this veteran ram of course to get some play against the king. He's in this somewhat uncomfortable pin, but black has no way to use it. Yeah, took on h5.
Check.
And, yeah, this is a nice little threat. Rook f7. In general, I think
check.
After Karjakin
check.
Failed to find this e4 move, after that Naiditsch is putting up a really great resistance here. It's absolutely no fun to play this position as black, but he really
check.
Keeps it. Yeah, he just keeps
check.
going, and the game goes on and on without white really having made any substantial progress. Yeah, he got this back, but now white gained the b pawn, so he has the a pawn to use. But still, this king isn't so safe, and the h pawn is also a source of counterplay. It's still very, very tricky to play. I mean, white is still preferable here due to this more dangerous pawn, but black has definite counterplay. We can advance a couple of moves that you could analyze. I mean, but then the video is like 3 hours if I do that. Not only this game, but also the others. You know, there's 4 or 5 more coming up, and you could easily do a half-an-hour video on each of them. So need to
check.
Yeah, this is an important point. I don't really understand why h3 is played. He can do that. It's not a fatal error, but I didn't really understand why he played h3. Maybe there was some miscalculation involved. Black could also just stay put instead of playing that, like, let's say queen g6 check. Or queen somewhere, queen c8, just stay and don't do much. This is not really helping. I mean, it's clear that white is not taking and allowing queen takes f3. Okay, this is not what Naiditsch overlooked, of course. King g3, but maybe he somehow misjudged what's coming. I mean, it's simply that white will get the h-pawn with this maneuver, and black has not really gained much with it. I don't really see what, at least. He's given it up. But it was a double pawn. I mean, it's not the end of the world to give up the pawn, but it didn't help. And here it's really already very tricky.
Check.
Yeah, I can give a couple of checks, but it's really tough to defend. Note the mate threat, queen e8, and if you look at this, queen a4, this is just quite nice. The king has no move, and there's a double threat. Black cannot cover both squares with the queen. It's not possible. And black does not have a check himself, so it's a quite funny loss. Yeah, and now the a pawn will decide the game. Always note the mate threat.
Check.
Yeah, and yeah, and here Naiditsch resigned. Yeah, I'm not really sure why he played the h pawn. It doesn't really seem to bring black any benefit. And, I mean, it's difficult anyway against the a pawn, but I think if black just stays and not does it is not used the. It's also, let's just this possibility shows that the H pawn is a useful unit to have. I mean, maybe just stay on the G file here and always keep Queen G3 as an option, so that white is tied to the square. Yeah, this was probably much tougher, but giving up the H pawn didn't help. But in general, the type of position that he got out of the opening, this type of position, is just a very thankless task to defend, especially considering that black has no particular compensation for it. Sometimes black gets into this, or usually it's black getting into this kind of relatively passive IQP positions, but with some sort of compensation in terms of, let's say, having very active rooks, for example. If black would be, let's say, ready to, would have the rook on c8 already in this position. Oh, that you can play rook c2, rook c8, entering on the second rank, then you have some counterplay, but it's just not happening here. All right, let's go to the next game. Hari Krishna against Caruana, and I must warn you that this is one just in the last round or the round before that, I said that I'm going to cover the longest game ever on this channel, and this record is broken by this game easily, and this means that we were looking at more than 100 moves. So this means I need to be quick with the initial phase of the game. We have Rui Lopez, Caruana playing this bishop c5 line, the line with many names, the Tkachiev variation, the Neo-Archangels variation, the Müller variation. There are many names, and it's one of the main lines of the Rui nowadays, or at least on the professional level. You don't see it that much on the amateur level. Okay, this is one of the main continuations, I believe. Black is giving up the b pawn, and in return gets very nice active pieces. This is pressure on d4. This is a good pin, and I have checked only briefly the theoretical background of this line, really very briefly, because there's much theory on it, and it seems that in the game this is has been played a number of times, and only here this is a new move on move 21. Yeah, well, I have some more than 100 moves to cover, so it's tricky to look at all the points of all these moves. In general, what black is trying to do is to get so much pressure going on d4 and b2 that white is unable to use his extra pawn. He has gained a pawn, but it's not easy to make any headway. Black very often gets a pawn back, and we see that in the game after this continuation. Yeah, so not so much happening. We've got the repetition, and now white is trying with f4. That black is getting substantial play here against the center. Yeah, got some trades, and at the end, black is attacking those two and has some active pieces. Still, you don't have regained the pawn yet. This is weak, but white has two bishops, so it's not an especially great opening result. Probably black is not in big trouble, but it's certainly not what Caruana had planned. We see that after f5, knight g7, and the trade, white is trying to improve his bishop here, and black is going for counterplay, against the b pawn. Yeah, another idea using the pin of this pawn. Yeah, and black just takes on b4. Yeah, this involves an exchange sacrifice. We see this quite in the near future. Bishop f4 attacking the rook. Now he played rook b6, bishop c4, and rook h5. Yeah, the exchange stack is coming around here. Let's put this on the board. We got to this position where black had regained the b pawn, but white still has this pressure. Rook takes g6, for example, is the threat. And yeah, he played the move rook c6 here, and this really involves the mentioned sacrifice, or maybe he just made some miscalculation. It's possible. He didn't need to do that. He could have played bishop e5 with this counter play, and this seems okay for black. After rook c6, white had the move rook c1, and maybe he just overlooked that. It's possible. If now black moves the bishop, let's say here, there's bishop f7, of course, and you lose this exchange under far less favorable circumstances. What black did is he took on c4, and maybe he really overlooked that. It was move 40 with a little time, so this was necessary to give up the exchange and now play bishop e5. The thing is, though, yeah, black lost the exchange, but is it really losing the game? If you look at it with a computer, it gives white a winning advantage, but I'm not so sure. This is a case where the computer is really not able to evaluate this fortress type of position correctly, I think. It's well, it's not giving it as a clear-cut win like +3 or something, but +1.3 or so, which usually is a win. But here I'm not sure at all. Black has really a fortress type of quality in this position. The rook on f5 is covering f7, which is the main weakness, and the knight is nicely anchored, and white has those weak pawns. I'm not sure at all that this should be a win for white. I think black has very decent chances to draw. We can advance a bit further.
Check.
Got a trade of bishops, which does not really alter the general evaluation that much. It's still a position where black's pieces form a nice fortress type unit, and we see that I can really advance quickly here with the moves, that white is making absolutely no headway for quite a long time. Black has switched the position a bit. Now the knight is blocking here, and well, he can just stay put. Only a bit later, white tried something to make any sort of progress. Not quite sure which move this happened. I mean, this game is so long. I really have no recollection when it happened. Oh, much later even. So we have a ton of more moves.
Check.
Yeah, black. Yeah, this kind of game is the reason why you really need to play with increments nowadays. In former times, it can easily happen that white plays like 200 moves in this position, every 50 move advancing a pawn, and it takes ages, and you simply are not able to make the moves, and it's simply nothing going on. Yeah, here White, being a bit desperate, plays f5. Of course, not great, but it's there's simply no progress to be made. Here, Black was picking up the pawn here anyway, so
Check.
he gave up this one, and we have a rook trade at least. But now we get to the point where we have rook against knight and pawn, and this is really just completely dead. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, why Hare Krishna is continuing for more than what moves. Let's check. Yeah, he's still playing more than 30 moves from here.
Check.
Maybe he wanted to
Check.
I don't know, play his longest game ever. I'm not sure what his personal record is in this respect, but this is really completely
Check.
drawn.
Check.
So
Check.
let's put this on the
Check.
board in bullet mode. And, yeah, here they
Check.
went to king versus king. Yeah, it's really a terribly long game. I think what are the main points? Yeah, Caruana was in a bit of trouble out of the opening, but then he regained the pawn here. But after some more moves, on move 40, he committed this mistake, after which rook c1 yeah, basically won the exchange. But even after that, it seems that
Check.
probably White could not win. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm quite sure that there is no win in this position because of this fortress type of setup. So yeah, a bit of a sadly lucky draw, I think, for Caruana, who was in some trouble most of the time and defending most of the time. Not very much fun to play this type of position for so long. Alright, so let's go to the next game, and this is Aronian against Wesley So. Aronian, the leader of the tournament, So also having a good event so far. Let's see what happens. Aronian with c4, yeah, he's varying between d4, c4 and knight f3. This time an English opening, and So is playing the Grunfeld type move d5, after which White has a big choice. He can play many moves here. I also have played this position as White for a number of times. I've played queen a4 here.
Check.
I've tried queen b3. h4 is even a move, huh? Also interesting. And Aronian is playing an idea that I'm absolutely not aware of. It was new to me. Interesting. If he played e4, this is not new. Of course, takes, b takes, also a known line. Here White, if he really wants to play a very dry game, can take with the pawn and play
Check.
this endgame. In fact, this is not so, it's drawish, yeah, but White can try a bit. He's very slightly better. But okay, Aronian wants to play more complicated chess. He plays b takes c, bishop g7, and here I only knew that White of course can play, and usually does, play d4 to transpose to a normal Grunfeld. But Aronian just does not play d4. That's interesting. He plays bishop e2, c5. Yeah, Black always needs to be ready for d4, but White just does not play it. Yeah, knight c6, preventing d4 now. And now he plays queen a4. I think this is a quite interesting way to play, a nice innovation. At least I didn't know it, and I also didn't find any big examples of this play. It has been played before, but it's not a popular line. Okay, White just delays this idea. That's one point. Bishop d7, and now queen a3, yeah? Attacking the important c5 pawn. Black covers it, and now rook d1, yeah? Introducing the late d4 advance. So we have a Grunfeld type of position. I can play these moves out, but it's just slightly different, and this is a fairly typical thing in modern chess, that players are trying to use tricky move orders to get to position types that they know, but with a twist. And here White, I think, was successful to introduce new problems to the black player, and we see that so quite quickly got into a position that was at least uncomfortable. He now exchanged on a3. Yeah, it's not a forced move, of course, but black also always must reckon with d takes c5. D takes c5 is not a positionally very desirable move, but it might be just tactically good, attacking the bishop on d7. And well, he had a concrete idea. He took, and now bishop g4. This is just increasing the pressure on the pawn d4, and it looks very logical, of course. Yeah, and now what is White supposed to do? Black is threatening to take on f3 and take on d4, so White needs to do something about this pressure, and he took on c5, leading to an opening of the position, which is of course something that White welcomes, because black will probably take on f3. It's hard to avoid that in the long run. After d takes, black captured on c3. This is, I think, almost forced. And now bishop a6 with this possibility. So we have an open position where White, I think, is just a bit more comfortable, because he's got the rooks in play already. Just one or two more tempi for black and it would be quite equal, but this is just not the case here. White is just more active. Yeah, and here, oops, no. the capture on b6 is just an annoying point here. If black retreats, this is what I mean, attacking the knight. So what should black do now? Here he had an interesting tactical opportunity. He could take on c5, but he didn't do that. It's an interesting move. Of course, White cannot take here because b1 hangs.
Check.
So a rook takes b8 is the move you need to check, but then knight b8 will attack the a6 bishop and make sure that black is not losing the c3 bishop. This seems okay for black. I mean, White can always play something like that, but this is just very equal. So maybe b takes c5 was an interesting option. White, of course, does not need to play rook takes b8. He can just take here, for example. And yeah, after bishop b2, rook, don't know where, d1. Maybe c2, I don't know. It seems that black has good chances to equalize. However, he played a different move. He played bishop takes f3, and this is what I mentioned before. White will get the bishops now, and yeah, this is already not so easy. Played bishop d2, d1, and bishop c3 back. Of course, this position is quite reduced in terms of pawn count on the queen side. If all queen side pawns are exchanged, then black certainly will draw. But this is simply not the case. White is just more active. Yeah, king g2 is a good move to cover f3, so that those kind of moves are not happening with a tempo on f3. And yeah, black is just fighting against the bishops now. He played the capture, and it's really hard to give black some advice. If you look at, let's say, a rook d8, a normal move like that, white can take.
Check.
Yeah, rook takes, loses b6, so knight takes probably, and then rook c1. It's also not nice at all, something like that. And now white can check the move c6. It's very interesting. Or I can also take and take e7. c6, however, is just stronger, directly threatening this. It's really a bit tricky already. I think bishop takes f3 really helped white. Yeah, well, he captured and white just recaptured. Very hard now to keep the material. e7 and a7 are under fire. A move like bishop b7, for example, is just so annoying. Where does the knight go? Or bishop b5 for that matter. At the end, white will probably win one of the pawns. Played bishop b4. Bishop b3, of course, keeping the pressure. And now rook c1, not exchanging, of course. Yeah, this is typical way to increase the pressure. Maybe e5, getting the king involved. This is all a benefit of this for white of this capture on f3. White can use his king also quicker in the center. Still, it's not a lost position for black, of course. It's just very uncomfortable to play. Played king f8. And we went to, or we reached this position now. Captured on a3. Of course, this is a tactical line now. And rook c4. Yeah, of course, what's happening now? The rook is hanging. And where should it go? It seems that rook c7 here is a bit more stubborn a defense. It's not great or anything, but it's probably a tougher defense than what Wesley So played after, for example, rook d3, bishop d6, and rook dc3. It's also a very nasty pin, but black has the move knight b4 to continue. It's not great at all, but it's still possible to continue the game. Can have a look at that. And this at the end, getting at the e7 pawn. White has excellent winning chances here as well. But in the game, he played rook d8. And after that, I think black is flat out winning. Rook a1. It's essentially a double attack. Bishop b2. And rook a2, a4. And this is a funny piece setup. And very typical of Aronia. And he has a really great sense of using his rooks in unusual unusual places. It's very rare to see two rooks on the 5th rank or 4th rank here in White's case. He had a game against Navarra in I think the 2010 Olympiad, where he had black rooks on the 5th rank. Really funny. Yeah, the point is this knight is attacked and it doesn't have any square to go to. Really, it's only rook d6 to defend it. After e5, rook e6, and rook c2, there's this additional possibility introduced, attacking the trapped rook and winning in exchange. And material losses are unavoidable here already. The relatively toughest defense would have been rook b4, but he played knight d8 after bishop a7, rook a8, and bishop b5. It's really too much. The trapped rook, the bishop is attacked. Yeah, played bishop e5, a desperation move. And and after bishop e3 here, black resigned. So yet another win for Aronian, who's playing an absolutely outstanding tournament at the moment. He's got a rating performance above 3,000 at the moment. 3,000 and some points. He's close to his all-time rating record in the live rating list, being on 2,825 something, being clearly the world's number 2 at the moment, almost 40 points higher than Nakamura and Kromnik. Great event so far, and let's see if he can continue to play at this this pace. Okay, let's go to the next game. Giri against Gelfand. Come on, Giri against Gelfand, and here Gelfand is going for the Grunfeld, the addition to his opening repertoire for the World Championship match 2012. He's been a lifelong expert on the white side, but preparing for the World Championship match led him to take it up for black. Yeah, we get one of the modern lines where
Check.
an end game is reached immediately. The main expert in this line is Vladimir Kromnik on the white side, who played many great games with that. He also beat Giri with this line, so maybe this led to this game that Giri plays it as white. Okay, I don't want to go into so much detail here and focus on the end game. We after some moves, yeah, get a fairly typical endgame position for this line. I'm really not sure if you can, if white has a slight edge or if it's just equal. I think it's probably just equal, and we see why a couple of moves later. Black is putting pressure on d4. And this is the key move. Oops, not look so quick. This is the key move, f5. It attacks e4 and attacks d4. And white really has no big choice. He needs to play e5. And this transformation, I think, means that black shouldn't have any trouble at all, because he will get a knight to d5. And this hampers white 5 against 4 majority. So white does not really have anything or much to play for. First played h6 to make sure that nothing is going to g5. After a couple of more moves, black has managed to get the knight to d5 as mentioned. And at first you might think, okay, maybe black can even do something, because he's got 2 against 1 and a potential passer. But this pawn, or this upcoming pass pawn, is not really a big threat. We see that in the game,
Check.
black gets this passer. Yeah, here rook b6. Black can take on d4. So it's still a finely balanced position. Yeah, white blockading the pawn. Yeah, this is all, yeah, pretty much understandable without any big comments, and equal. It's not really a problem for both sides. But they keep fighting. I mean, they could just agree to a draw, but continue a bit, probing around. And white is having an idea. He's trying for this knight maneuver.
Check.
Here we go. This is a good try. I mean, it seems that with the best play it's not leading too much, but it's interesting. Okay, black took it. And here, on move 51, Gelfart needed to be precise, and in fact he made a mistake here. He played
Check.
knight f6 check, and it seems that this move really lands him into big trouble. Very natural looking move, and he should probably play king to f6 with good chances to draw. It's not so easy to play, but probably still a draw. But let's look what happened after
check.
knight f6, because this is very interesting. Black gave the check, and white needed to retreat. Of course, cannot go here.
Check.
A funny self-made. Okay, king back to b3. To d3, sorry. And now knight d7. This was the idea. Here, Giri missed his chance. One of the chances. He has one later, but here he could have played rook to h8, which seems better. Just attacking the pawn. And okay, the h pawn. If this falls, white has a very strong passer. This seems to win. What he played also keeps an edge, but it's not so convincing. b3 is a source of counterplay. Yeah. This position is very interesting. If you like to have some challenge, you can try to work out in this position what white's best continuation is. And if you want, you can pause the video and look a bit for yourself. I'll be quiet for a couple of seconds. Yeah, here Giri had the opportunity to play the very thematic move d5. This would have been very strong and very thematic, as mentioned, because it opens up this bishop. And the point is that after knight d5, again there's rook h8, and this is a big threat. After rook d7, for example, you have bishop e5, and with this move you can keep your pawn. This wouldn't have been possible if there still is a pawn on d4. So this is a very important piece activation, and this should probably win for white. He didn't do that. He played king c4 first, which is not spoiling much, but d5 was stronger. Rook d7 and rook b6 was a better defense, but it's very tricky to play. Rook d7 takes, and queen b and king b3, knight b6, and well, it's not so interesting in this position. Here you can also go for for treating this position as a puzzle, white to play and win. It's not difficult now, because it's just the same. d5 is again the winner, and here, I mean, okay, if the times are correct, I understand that it's not easy with 3 minutes on the clock, but it's a fairly easy move to play for a world-class player, because it's simply so logical to activate the bishop. And one, of course, important tactical point is that knight d5 is losing due to bishop g7, and this you can overlook, of course. It's really a strange move. It attacks the pawn, and if black takes, of course, the d pawn promotes. It's a bit unusual, this motif, but as mentioned, very thematic. This is a strong piece now after the d pawn is jettisoned. Yeah, after e takes, in fact, it's relatively easy. White just moves the king up the board and supports the d pawn. Combined with this idea, it's a very easy win. But Giri didn't find that. He played bishop a3, and yeah, here again d5 wins, but he simply didn't see the idea, it seems. And now this golden opportunity has passed, and in fact relatively quickly afterwards they agreed to a draw. Yeah, there's no progress to be made here. d5 was a relatively easy win, but okay, if the clock times are correct, it's not easy to play with 2 or 3 minutes on the clock. So a bit of a lucky escape for Gelfand, who's having a really bad event. He's struggling in most of the games, simply not being in good shape. Alright, so next game, Dominguez Nakamura. Okay. Yeah, Nakamura playing the Berlin Wall. He sometimes does that. It seems a bit yeah, a bit strange decision for such a fighting player as Nakamura, but this is somewhat wrong conception sometimes of this opening. It's not a terribly boring opening if White really fights hard in the end game. It's complicated chess. There are only some lines that are really dull, like for instance Rook e1. This kind of stuff is very boring. But the pure end game, which we get in the game, we get the absolute
Check.
main line of the end game. This can really lead to interesting play, and we see that this game is no exception. Dominguez is going for this h3 line, which nowadays is all the rage. White is trying to very quickly make progress on the queen side. This has been played a number of times, also by Nakamura. In fact, we can go up to this move, f5. Here, Nakamura only in, I think it was October 2013, just a couple of months ago, he had played c5 here against Caruana in the European Club Cup. And it ended in a draw. Very, very complicated game, but at the end ending in a draw. He played a new move here, however, h5. And I'm not sure that it's really an improvement. To be honest, I feel that this is so complicated that my relatively limited analysis is not enough to really assess what's going on. I can show you what I'm talking about. This is very, very logical in my book. Black attacks those pawns, and he needs to do that. White has gained so much space, he needs to attack the pawns. After f6, knight takes, and knight f3 back. This needs to be covered. Nakamura goes for pawn grabbing with knight b4 and takes on c2, and the position that he's getting right after that is very, very tricky, and I really don't like it. But of course, after h5, I mean, he played this this novelty, improving, or let's say playing a new move compared to one of his own games, and he really must have looked at this, because, well, this is very logical moves. King g2, knight c3, all this is basically forced, so he probably had prepared all this. This is also supported by the clock times, and if you look at this, it's bishop f4. Let's just put it on the board. All this is quite forced. I mean, isn't this looking like a very dangerous position for black? I really don't think it's comfortable to play. I mean, knight g5 attacks f7. There's the e6 idea. There's really much pressure on black. I mean, maybe he did some analysis and came to the conclusion that black can defend, and white needs to be precise in his active play. But it turns out relatively quickly that black has big problems. Bishop b7. Here already spent some time. Maybe you can even debate if this is such a great move. Okay, knight g5 and takes on g4. Yeah, maybe knight d8. It looks passive, I know, but maybe this was the better move. The thing that might happen after that is rook takes d7. This is a very interesting line. King takes and e6.
Check.
This is really leading to white's pieces getting very, very active. One point being that knight e6 is probably
Check.
losing straight away after the check. King moves, and after that black is probably losing. Those pawns combined with the knight on g6 are winning the game. This was too quick. Let's just check this again. Black probably needs to take with the pawn.
Check.
And then knight e5 check. I mean, this is like this whole position feels like dodging bullets all the time. White again has dangerous pawns, active pieces, and black is simply not coordinated. It's not much fun to defend. It seems the best is e5, bishop e5, and is this the line that I had? Yeah, and then now h4. It's still very, very complicated. Knight c6, bishop f4, bishop d6. This could be. I know, now white can take and play f7. Now, this is nonsense. Probably something else. King move probably. King b7. Or d7. Yeah, something like that is a possibility. Maybe Nakamura was afraid of that. He played that move, but after it it gets very tricky. Takes and bishop g4. Yeah, again knight d8 was a possibility, but after rook h1, this is just getting very, very problematic. Black cannot take simply because after the coming rook h8 he will lose material on the king side, and decisive material. Oops. Yeah, black could try rook h6, but I don't think it helps him in the long run. Let's say, yeah, maybe this one, covering this bishop, so that after, let's say, maybe king b7, I can take and move the knight. Yeah, this is simply not a nice position. Even that one is a good move. This is attacking all pieces. Yeah, black really is in trouble. He took on g4, and now white took on f7, and now he can, yeah, even without calculating many variations, you can see that black is struggling. Those two pawns are just super dangerous, and they also completely kill off the f8 bishop. It has nowhere to go. Rook h5, king g3, all very logical. Yeah, white is winning in this position, and is doing a decent job of keeping his big edge. But in fact, I advance a couple of moves.
Check.
In fact, somewhat later, yeah, black was basically forced to do that to get rid of one of the pawns. A bit later, he is not playing in the most precise way. Here, b4 was a good idea, I think, to try to get rid of the c-pawn so that knight d4 is not a defensive option. He didn't do that. It's probably not a a decisive mistake or anything, but I just like the move.
Check.
White still keeps his edge intact, but a bit later, around here, he made a mistake. White probably should play bishop e5 here, and after, let's say, knight e6, play some slower improving moves. Let's say like bishop back to c3, for example. He played rook f1, and yeah, this just fails to a tactical idea, and Nakamura is obviously a very good tactical player in spotting and spots those tactical defenses. He played bishop e6 check, just the simple check, and this is also just attacking on f6. Played king g5, and now the problem is this move, bishop c4, attacking the rook on f1 and introducing knight e6. And yeah, white has problems now. He takes the pawn, king to e5, and yeah, what now? The rook is attacked. You only have rook f2 basically, and now after knight e6 check, this is a problem. Here, and here. King to g4, and after knight takes c7, in fact, they immediately drew the game at this point. Yeah, maybe white could have looked at this position and maybe not take on c7. We can look at that. If he plays rook f2 without taking, there's knight e6 check. Yeah, the big point is white cannot take because of this move, and black is even winning easily. So black must white must move back with the king. Let's say here, and now rook f6, and yeah, now we have a position where black already has got 3 pawns for the exchange, and maybe is starting to get ambitious. So what Dominguez was doing with rook takes c7 is basically killing the game off to a draw before you even get into trouble. Yeah, this was a very lucky escape for Nakamura, but I mean, it's always relative. There is luck in chess, but it's also a bit it's also a case of defending tenaciously, and he's certainly doing that all the time. It's really trying to muddy the waters and try for counterplay. So yeah, still a game that Dominguez had a good winning chance, and I don't really like this line for black. It feels like he's under pressure, but I'm no expert on the Berlin Wall. I guess it's not something that wins by force or something like that. Otherwise, we would have seen it in the World Championship match. So probably this will be played some more times and be explored more to check if black is really under pressure here. All right, 1 game left. I'm already above the 1 hour mark, but at least I'm not approaching the 2 hour mark. There have been times where I could have done that. Okay, Van Veli against Rapport, the creative Hungarian GM. Let's see what he's doing in this game. Yeah, not so much opening creativity. We go to a King's Indian, and in fact relatively long theoretical line. This has been played numerous times. F5 is not a move that I personally like too much, but it's certainly playable. What I don't like about it when Van Veli takes is that it leads to a pawn structure, exactly this pawn structure, where black is not very dynamic on the king side. Those pawns, they are not able to do much, and white has a very clear plan of play on the queen side. I mean, compared to the classical main line, white is never going to get mated here. Okay, black is immediately reacting to the b4 plan. He's playing c5 himself. And this is important, very important point. Van Velde now captures on c6. I think this is really necessary to make any headway in the game. You can, of course, just, let's say, castle. But how are you ever going to open up the queen side? Black is a bit passive, but he's got good chances to defend passively on the queen side. The capture is just more straightforward, followed by b4. The idea is to play b5, dislodging this pawn, and then d5 can be a good square. We see that in the game after a couple of moves that white manages to gain the d5 square for a knight. In fact, in this game, I think it always, or for a long time, the game was a bit drifting between somewhat better for white and about equal. We see that white has the better structure, that's clear, but black's pieces are quite active. He doubled here on the b file, putting pressure on the pawn, and yeah, there are ideas to get a knight to d4. The only worry long term that you can easily forget about is that black's king is a bit weak. It's at the moment there are no pieces near it, but those pawns, yeah, well, they don't they don't go back, and white's king is just far more secure in comparison to black's king, and this will play a role in the game later. Okay, a couple of moves later, we see that black entered on the second rank, and after rook d3 he played knight to d4, some trades, and rook d2. In fact, here we have one of the critical positions of the game. In this position, now Rapport plays the move queen to a6, and this is just a direct, I think, direct tactical mistake. He probably should have played, yeah, a much simpler move. I mean, the queen on e6, it covers the g4 pawn, and well, you don't want to play passive chess and always, let's say, stick to the defense of pawns. But I think you just simply should keep it and maybe play, let's say, queen d7 if you want to move the queen. Queen a6 just has a simple problem. He took, and here we go. The pawn is gone. I mean, it's clear that Rapport didn't just blunder it, at least I think. He played d3. He probably wanted to play in the most active possible way, activating the pawn, maybe introducing bishop d4, just not trying to be passive, but it simply does not seem to be enough. White is better now. Queen d7, and now we see what I was talking about, the king position. White is playing on the light squares, something like that, for example, and we see that after queen g6, knight e7,
check.
White in fact got the knight to f5, and yeah, we know this is a very strong piece, a knight on f5. Yeah, the famous Kasparov quote, with a knight on f5 I'm unstoppable, which is probably true. If you run a statistic of Kasparov games where he had a knight on f5, he probably has won all of them. Okay, b2 and g3. Yeah, queen d3 was probably even more forceful, but g3 is a very understandable move, making some luft for the king so that you're not mated on the back rank. And here bishop c3. Queen d3. Bishop c3 also wasn't the best, but black's play is really difficult here. Queen a7. Yeah, here the absolute yeah, okay, there are more than one critical points of this game, but here Van Velde had a very big opportunity to win the game. The easiest is to play e5, and it's really amazing that he didn't play that. The clock times are not so accurate, I know, but e5 is such an obvious move. I really don't understand why he didn't play it. It's threatening knight e7 with a deadly mating attack, and black has nothing, absolutely no defense to that. And it's very easy to see. I don't really know why he didn't play that. Let's for example, if black takes, just to put it on the board. Oh, here it's all the same.
Check.
White wins the queen. This is why queen a7 also was very unlucky. It's unprotected. So e5 just flat out wins, and he had time on the clock. I don't really know why he didn't. Yeah, black's idea, of course, we need to check this as well. If white takes on c3, black's idea was to promote. Even this is interesting for white. I mean, queen takes b2 you can play, and you still have a ranging attack. Yeah, queen d8, and then something like that, rook d1, queen h5. But okay, this is probably winning as well, but it's simply not relevant, because e5 just flat out wins, and it's not difficult. He played rook d1. The fun thing is, this is also winning with various lines. After bishop b4, again e5 is winning. And he played it. Queen f7. Check. Going to queen d4. Yeah, quite for a long time white is winning, but he simply does not. He does not really finish him off. In this position, for example, after queen f6, he played queen d7 check. There was also just queen e4. Intending knight d5, and I don't really see a defense to that. In black probably will sack the exchange to just continue, but it's winning for white. Okay, well, queen d7 should also win, but it's more complicated. Yeah, g4 is a quite nice defensive try, but also this ultimately should not be enough to draw. Van Velde now played queen c8 check, if I'm not mistaken, yes. And this is again a bit strange, because, well, he can take it and it wins. Yeah, queen f3 check, king h3. And it's just a deadly attack here. Black cannot take here, it's mate.
Check. Yeah,
that's
checkmate.
Quite nice, using the pawn to cover the f7 square. Black cannot take on d1. He needs to play something like queen f5, and then white continues with using the e pawn. He can give checks first. Check here, for example. Yeah, maybe here.
Check.
Somewhere. I don't know. It's all good for white. Maybe king g6, and now is it e7? I'm not sure. Yeah, well, you can play e7 now. Yeah, you can play e7 now, intending to queen, of course, and black has no move. Yeah, it's quite strange. He's simply not playing the moves that win, but it's easy to say after the game, when you can all check it with a computer, and it just mercilessly calculates all those lines. King g7.
Check.
And now e7. Yeah, well, this is clearly worse in comparison. White is giving up the e pawn for the d pawn, and now bishop g5. And this is the real problem at the end of this line, that white has no way to get out of this pin, and from a position where white was almost mating, we have gotten an endgame. And this is really the best line, where white has won a pawn, but it's just a draw. What can you do? White can try, and he tried for a bit, but it's a draw simply because black has a very active configuration here on the king side.
Check.
And yeah, okay, a move like that will never win, so you need to give up the pawn. And here black has enough counterplay. He played the slightly strange move king h5. This is I didn't really understand, because well, h5 is drawing very easily using the h pawn, but king h5, oops, sorry, king h5, while being a bit strange, still should draw, I think. And it did draw. It was relatively quick. After that, we had a couple of more moves. Check. And there's simply no progress to be made. So a game where Van Vele easily could have won at various points, but yeah, it's really easy in analysis. You still need to do it with the clock running. So bit lucky escape for Report, who was in big trouble. All right, I hope you enjoyed the coverage of the games. I think they all had their points and were interesting. Thanks for watching. I'll be back I think tomorrow. There's not another rest day tomorrow with round 7. Thanks for watching. Until then, bye.